welcome to Flory Models Daily Show. Here we are on Monday the 5th of December 2016 after a really nice weekend. I must admit I caught up with loads of bits and pieces, all those tiny little jobs that you just never get around to doing. They get postponed and they end up just dropping off and never getting around to doing them. I have got a few more emails to catch up on, so if you haven't had a response out of me for the last week basically, don't panic, I am working my way through them, but for some reason we seem to have a massive influx of emails and various coming in, but I am working through them as fast as I possibly can. So, as I said, caught up with a load of bits and pieces. Christmas decorations went up and everything else like that you would have seen on Saturday. Okay, and through the post, I have to thank Joe from Canada, who has sent me a few little Christmas gifts. One of them is going to ruin my life in a lot of ways, Joe, so thank you for this. But this is this. He sent me one of these. Now, this is one of the actual paint shakers, which I've had great joy in taking the mick out of everyone for this for weeks now, and now I've got one, so I'm going to have to use it. So what we're going to do, we're doing on test with this one. I think this one is the same as what Hans has got. It's not the one that Steve's got, which I think is a cheaper version of. But anyway, this is the proper paint shaker and everything else. And to be honest, he has sent me some bits and pieces as well. So thank you for the sweatshirt as well. Thank you very much. I don't know what 613 Mechanical Systems is, but thank you very much indeed. And he sent me a t-shirt as well. Again, with that, I don't know if it's his company, but thank you very much for that. Very much appreciated. We'll have fun with those. I'll wear them. But just admit, absolutely freezing. Yesterday I was putting the Christmas lights all outside. We've gone for a new scheme this year because I had a bit of an accident when I thought there was an empty box. Turns out it wasn't empty. It was full of the Christmas lights and I was shooting. Didn't end well, so I had to go out and buy some new Christmas lights. So anyway, we've got new Christmas lights all out the front and everything else like that. So anyway, today, because we are running late, it's 11:45 now, by the time I've done all the editing and caught up, I'm going to do a tiny little bit more to this little guy over here, alright, which is, you can see, is our ATAT, which is going together really, really nicely. I'm just going to show on camera about doing the screw work for the legs we spoke about on Saturday with you, and we did that little short one because obviously we've bolted up the legs and the various bits and pieces like that, so we want to do that one. And then obviously there's a few other bits and pieces I want to do with that, and then technically it is ready for primer. We've done all the work we need to do on it. As I said, it was never going to be a huge, massive detailed job because it's not that type of project. It's really just 2 or 3 days work I wanted to do with it, and then we'll move on with other things, because to be honest, I'm going to do this afternoon a little bit more work to the Gloucester Meteor. We're going to get that thing hopefully buttoned up and all done and everything else like that. So the next part of that will be up on Wednesday with you, and then tomorrow, to be honest, we're going to be tackling sort of like a one-day build type of issue. So I'm going to be doing one of those, and then obviously we'll be carrying on with the theme of the Star Wars throughout the week, but you'll still obviously get Gloucester Meteor, and I've got to do a couple of reviews. 2 of them are not anything to do with Star Wars, you'll be happy to know. The rest of them will be. Alright, so there we go like that. So that's it for now. Catch me just after lunch, we'll have a look and see how we're getting on. Busy old day today. As you can see, we've got this thing into black primer just over it, just to see exactly what we got with this one, and I must admit it's really working very well. This sort of patchiness that I'm getting in the plastic is also working to my advantage, because when we come in with, to be honest, mediocre weathering, we're not going to go massively over the top. We're going to do most of it with an airbrush, to be honest, but it should enable us to actually give us some very nice details right the way over this. There's a couple of points I've still got to put on with this. There's a couple of little touching areas I want to do just before we get it into paint, but with any luck tomorrow morning I will have this painted and ready for sort of weathering various bits and pieces, because it's just going to have a grey coat, quite patchy right the way over it, and then we're going to go through the situation of sanding and rubbing and knocking it all back and everything else like that. So with you now is the next part of this one is up now. Talks about obviously doing the detailing, doing the scratch building we've done onto this one, rescribing it, and putting in the bolts and the nuts and the various things that we've done, the grub screws, to detail up the legs and everything else like that. So the next part of that is up on the actual site now, and it's in the free to watch area as well if you want to go out and check that one out. Tomorrow, obviously, we're back up with our usual sort of program schedule, shall we say. So me and Steve be with you around about 2 o'clock in the afternoon for Tuesday's Q&As. We did say we might do some building amongst it because obviously I've got a few quick little jobs and things like that. So what we might do is incorporate doing those as part of the Q&A at the same time. That way we can sort of build and chat as we make our way through. A couple of hours, probably from, I don't know, 2 till 4, something else like that on Tuesday, and we can work our way through. Then I'm really going to push on quite exclusively with the Meteor just for a little bit. Once this has been painted grey, I'm waiting for weathering. Going to push on with that one, get a couple of parts of that, to be honest, in the can, so to speak, and then you'll get the next part on Wednesday, and then the following part will be up with you on the following Wednesday as we make our way through with a lot more of the actual Star Wars stuff. Because as I say, we've got some big projects still to come. A lot of you have been asking about it. Yes, the trench run will return. Planning on starting that next week, and we're going to be running through, we're doing the trench run, because that way we've got all the individual models built for it now. We intend to get them down, we're going to have a look at them, and we're going to be able to sort of recreate a mini trench run. It's not going to be that big, it's going to be about the size of this cutting mat, but obviously we did all the casting last year and all the bits and pieces like that, so we're going to do a quick recap of that and then obviously put it all together. Then we've actually got to then weather it, paint it, all the bits and pieces, and then fix obviously all the aircraft into it, or the spacecraft I should say, to give us the actual full trench run with the X-Wing, TIE fighters and things like that. I'm going to do a couple of the turbo laser turrets as well for that one, because we've got those through the A-Wing. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of those as well. And hopefully that'll detail it up very nicely. And as I say, something a little bit different, a little bit sort of scratch building, and hopefully a lot of fun. So also today, as promised, we have for you is the final reveal from the turkey shoot. Congratulations to everybody who took part. Going through, to be honest, I finished it off a lot of that this morning doing the editing for that one. It was great to see it because we were following it live over the sort of 4 days and going through the bits and pieces. You see glimpses, okay, but it's not until I sat back and started to look at all the way through your reveal photos, you can just see how much work went in. And in 4 days, it was incredible work. So well done to everybody who took part. And then hopefully you'll enjoy the reveal video that's coming up shortly. So that's about it for me for now. As I say, first thing in the morning, going to get this thing painted. And then what we're going to do is obviously then push on with the Meteor. And then I'm going to join you tomorrow afternoon for Q&As with me and Steve. Till tomorrow, everybody. Happy modelling, take care, and enjoy the turkey shoot.